All right, alongside Jamie McLennan, Frankie Corrado, and Darren Driedger, two of the best games to start a Stanley Cup final in recent memory. Two teams with so little between them, and so perhaps it's fitting that we are nowhere. We're right back to where we started, even now in a best-of-5 series. How did the Florida Panthers finally get it done?
Well, can we say that they got Brad Marchand? Is that the correct answer? Because they got Brad Marchand, and this guy was unbelievable in this game. Ultimately, is going to get the game-winning goal in double overtime. And it's fitting that it's Brad Marchand, because you go back a couple years ago to when the Boston Bruins had that historic regular season. He has the series on his stick against the Florida Panthers. He doesn't find a way to get that goal. But in this game, he was outstanding, of course. And here's the one where it's a... you can call it a bad read by the Oilers' defense, but it's a really nice play by Marchand to really find that open area in the middle of the ice and stretch out for the breakaway goal. And, for Stuart Skinner, I mean, of course, you would have liked to have this one. It's not, it's more leaky than anything, but Marchand finds a way to break through.
It's a little bit of a greasy goal, but you could tell exactly what he was trying to do was open the goaltender up, come back 5-hole. Draisaitl gets his stick in there. It's a bit of a broken play, but you mentioned it's a little bit of a leaky goal that slides 5-hole, and Marchand gets it done with the dagger, and as you mentioned, all of a sudden we're tie series, heading off to Florida.
That deadline acquisition, even though it's now a first-rounder they give up, seems to be one of the more astute in recent years now, Drakes.
I mean, it's often on an annual basis where you look at those deadline acquisitions, especially when you're talking about a rental player, which Brad Marchand is, and you're like, okay, well, is that going to work out? Well, so far it has worked out. It's paying dividends for the Florida Panthers. And, his leadership that goes into the dressing room right upon arrival was evident. Paul Maurice has talked openly about that. But his ability to break open big games and be a presence is there. And we saw that firsthand, not just tonight, but throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. But none bigger than 2 goals that he scored. Obviously, the shorthanded goal to make it 4-3, and then the game-winning goal in double overtime. And you got to wonder now, as it turns into a best-of-5, what else is left for this guy, right? He's born for this time of year.
All right, we have post-game reaction for you. We'll be with you for the next little while. Let's start with Leon Draisaitl.
Despite the loss, obviously, how'd you kind of see that last goal? What's available at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we got to look on the other side, and it's a breakaway. It squeaks through. Yeah.
That's a grind of a game. Maybe compared to the first one in terms of just the tightness of it overall and how close it seems.
Yeah, I mean, every game is tight at this time of year. 2 really good teams. So yeah, it's never going to be easy. So regroup and get ready for game 3.
What are you seeing in that second period? Because it's the second time. They seem a long change seems to give you guys problems, especially when you get him in the own end there.
Yeah, I think we just lost our legs a little bit. Weren't as quick to recover pucks, and they're going to have their push, of course. So something to look at.
When you lose a game like this, it's such an emotional high and low. I guess you got 2 days to recover. I guess is that a good thing? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this time of year, it's you gotta move on. There's no time, and thinking about it too long. Obviously, it stings right now, but yeah, we have to move on.
I can ask you about that assist from Connor when on the power play they walked around the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, it's one player in the world that can make that.
Thanks,
Now the guy who tied it late for Edmonton, Cory Perry.
And be ready for game 3. How do you feel? What would you assess kind of your overall play in this game? Up and down. We made some great plays, and they capitalized on some plays that we probably could have been there or whatever it is. And I mean, that's hockey. That's it's hockey. One mistake and that it gets magnified, and it did tonight.
Or when you score at least to tie a game and go into overtime, I'm wondering, do you carry momentum into overtime, or is the intermission there kind of reset everything?
You have to reset. You have to.
No, I mean, does it reset for everybody?
I mean, it resets for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a next goal wins. It's but you can take some momentum, but we came in, we had to catch our breath and get ready for the overtime. And unfortunately, we didn't get that bounce.
Cory, in the second period, second time in a row, it seems like the long change is giving you guys problems getting hemmed in. What are you seeing in that second period that they've kind of took control of both games?
I think there was both ways. It was like that. That's hockey. It's the long change, and we talk about it all the time. You have them in, you roll the lines over and keep them tired, and that's the way we play. And they found a few shifts where they're going to do that as well. They're a great team, and so it's that's just hockey, one of those things.
You guys aren't a chip it on the glass and out team, so is that
says who?
Says your coach.
Okay.
He says you guys like to keep the puck.
Well, yeah, I mean we do, but at the same time you have to read the pressure sometimes. We are a team that likes the puck and move it and make plays and skate with it through a neutral zone. But at some points you have to chip it out.
Are these just a little bit tougher given it's a long game, it's a late night, it's a grind, and to lose it in double overtimes, it just make it a little bit tougher than your average loss. Push through.
I mean, we lost with 0.4 seconds left in the, whatever, couple series ago. Those are tough. You go home. Yeah, you can think about it, but tomorrow you get some rest and get on the plane and be ready for Game 3. It's, they're a good team. Like I keep saying, they're a good team. They're going to push us to the max, and we're going to push them to the max. And yeah, it's frustrating right now, but we're in the final for a reason.
When he scored that goal late, I don't like the team of destiny phrase, but I was starting to feel that in my head with the Oilers, that maybe this was going to be it. Well, and they may still be, but the Marchand goal kills that. But to score with 20 seconds left, didn't you have a feeling they were going to win the game?
Absolutely, and it always seems that it's Corey Perry around everything in the absence of Zach Hyman, and he seamlessly slid into that position with Draisaitl and McDavid, especially when they load up. And, this game-tying goal, Jake Wohlman does a good job keeping this puck in. Perry's going to absorb some contact. McDavid as well. Little pop back to Perry. Then Perry, watch Listerainen. He's got him tied up. He's basically mugging him, and he overpowers Listerainen and gets the puck and elevates it. A little chip play. It's not about how hard you shoot it. It's where you place it, and there's your game tire by the 40-year-old.
And you know what? The thing about this Corey Perry goal, there always feels like there's an answer back for the Edmonton Oilers. Like, ultimately, they lose this game, but, it's a good sign that you have that answer back late in the game, and you're in a series. Like the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, these are two really good teams. These are the best teams. It's such a slim margin for error, but at least you have that little answer back when you need it.
And there were moments in overtime, too, where both teams had the chances where, there was a couple of them get behind Skinner and scoot right across the goal line, Frankie, and you think, okay, after those things happen, you're going to finally score.
There were so many chances in overtime. Like, so many times this game could have been over. And, for the Edmonton Oilers, obviously, you come away with, losing this game. But, there would have been chances early on where, you're trying to get to Sergei Babrovski. And the thing that I really liked, especially about the first overtime, is that these teams didn't play scared to lose. They both attacked the overtime saying, we're going to try and win this thing. And yes, there's some good chances. That one sneaks right past Stuart Skinner. He made a big save on Sam Reinhart. The Reinhart shot there where he's coming down the wing, that reminds me of Game 7 last year. I'm watching that thinking, Sam Reinhart had that exact same shot. And then, of course, on the breakaway, Reinhart's going to put it wide. But there were chances back and forth. These teams didn't sit back. They didn't play conservative. They tried to attack the game and win it in overtime. Almost surprising that we got to a second overtime tonight.
We've only heard from a couple of players, Draisaitl and Corey Perry, but so far I like what I hear too, right? I mean, they're disappointed. Of course they are. They could have taken a 2-0 series lead going into Florida for games 3 and 4, but they also recognize from the experience of last year getting to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final that it is a marathon and you can't get mentally drained. You're physically tired. They're going to use whatever they can, resources to regroup prior to Game 3, but they just flushed this, right? Yeah. Overall, a decent hockey game. It just didn't go their way.
Might take a night to flush it completely.
Maybe.
Like Draisaitl's face, I think it might not be
That's
flushed.
why you got 2 days off.
Sometime tomorrow.
Probably one of the last things you want to do is have to face the media after a game like that. But
absolutely, unless you won, and Matthew Tkachuk and the Panthers won.
Chucky just. What was the emotions like seeing that puck go in double overtime?
Yeah, didn't know if it went at the start, and then I don't even know. I didn't see the puck go in. It was just more the reactions I saw. And, just such a great feeling. We worked hard. I thought we played 2 good games. You know, tonight was definitely a step better than game 1, but you know, they're a great team. We're a great team, and you know, could be out of here 0-2. We could have been out of here 2-0. Like it's just crazy how it works. So 1-1 going back home. Now we got home ice, and I mean, pretend there's zeros across the board now. We got home ice, and let's take advantage of it.
What can you say about the resiliency of this group, and kind of what was the mood after they tied it up there late?
Yeah, it was surprisingly really. I mean, not surprisingly. Like, you know our group. Like we're coming in here, we're hooting and hollering, we're having some fun. You know, bad break. What are you gonna do? Guys played so hard on that 5-on-6 before that, and you know, just a tough balance there. And we're coming in here, and you know, it was the opposite of what you guys probably thought we were like in the locker room. We were upbeat, joking around, having some fun. I don't know, picking guys who we think was going to score, and yeah, I think I'm sure a lot of guys probably had Marshy.
How would you describe Brad Marchand as a playoff performer?
I just, playoffs aside, I think one thing that he's so great, I think his best strength as a player, like he's really skilled, hard on pucks, wants the puck, but his anticipation and his just being in the right spots, like his hockey sense, it's unbelievable. I mean, you see it tonight, 2 breakaway goals, like just seeing a play, seeing it go to a player, and he's gone, and you know, gets an unbelievable chance. I saw that a ton with him and him in Boston, and way better seeing it now.
He's doing this at 37. Like, what does that say about his just love, his passion for the game? Still be doing it.
I mean, he's could play till he's 47. The way he's going, so unreal player, unreal competitor, and yeah, he's scored. When you think about it, 2 of our biggest goals in the playoffs so far. So hopefully we can keep it going.
For you, what are the keys to pulling out a game like that?
Probably doing very similar things to what we did. There wasn't much going on the third, both sides. It was a solid period. It was a physical period. We played in their zone. We could have had a couple at the end of the second. Could have had a few in the third, but we didn't change too much from how we got there. And yeah, I mean, like I said, giving up 1 late is tough, but we just had to make it a little harder on ourselves, and it is what it is.
40+ saves for Bob again. What can you say about his performance? Especially that late save on.
He was unreal. He was unreal. I mean, you can't do anything on any of their goals, right? And what was it, a breakaway, and then I don't even remember the second one, through a screen, and then backdoor, and then yeah, it's just, he was unreal. I mean, if it wasn't for him, it could have been maybe 7-2 after the first. He was unreal, and then gave us a chance, and some of those saves he made in overtime just makes it look so easy out there. I don't know how he does it, but it's incredible. And another guy who's doing it at his age, and another guy who could be playing at least 50.
He faced 96.
Now, Panthers defenseman Seth Jones.
Fun. Always staying in the moment, and you know, on the ice, obviously he's a hell of a player. You know, big time player, shows up in big moments, and you saw that again tonight.
How's this rematch delivering in terms of drama through 2 games?
This is my first time, so I'm not part of the rematch, but 2 great teams going at it. You know, I think the hockey world can't ask for a better matchup.
What's it like managing the fatigue in a game like this?
Just stay hydrated on the bench, keep the shift short. I'm sure they're saying the same thing, but you don't want to get stuck out there. It does happen, but you know, that's what training camp's for.
What was it like about Marchand playing with him that you didn't know before?
That I didn't know before. It's a whole lot better to be on his team than playing against him. That's for sure. But he's a hell of a leader. You know, first time obviously being in the locker room with him off the ice and seeing his day-to-day work and his work ethic and his will to be better. And at this point of his career, he always wants more.
Sorry if you were asked, but Sergei tonight faced 46 shots again. What can you say about his performance?
Unbelievable. Always gets his chance to win every night, regardless of the way we play in front of him. Makes huge saves. You saw in every single period tonight. He steps up to the plate when he needs to.
What's the emotions like when you see the puck go in overtime for you?
Oh yeah, you know, obviously it's joyful. You know, you put in so much work in a game like this, and you want to come out on top. But we know there's a long road ahead, and we're playing a great team, and we're going to have to be a lot better, I think, in the next few games.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
34 minutes and 15 seconds of ice time for Seth Jones, but hey, that's what training camp is for. Even though that was
a long time.
8 months ago, but
months ago.
I guess
Put
it
in the
stays
work.
with you.
You put in the work.
If guys are going around at training camp, boys, this is for Game 7 of the Cup
Game
final.
2 of the
right
Cup
now.
final, double OT,
Yeah.
right now in 8 months. These extra couple of laps will help us out. Both those guys praise Babrovski, and rightfully so. In a game when you give up 4 and you're probably the first star, I guess you could make an argument, of course, that Marchand is, but like to the quality of chances that the Oilers had, is that the difference in the game? Skinner gives up a softie, Babrovski does not.
Absolutely. And your top goaltender, your top player has to be a difference maker. And in this game, it was Babrovski. And, pick your period where it was first period, second, third, or overtime. Babrovski found the big saves, and especially at 3-2. Because the Edmonton Oilers generated a lot of high-quality chances and might have been able to stretch their lead out at 3-2 to 4 or 5. Babrovski kept it close. The Panthers battled back, and in the end, they get the win. But when you generate these many high-quality chances, 24 last game for the Edmonton Oilers, north of 20 this game. This is a guy who's playing at the top of his game. The Edmonton Oilers knew it wasn't going to be easy. This is a guy you have to get to. You've got to keep him in his net. You've got to get traffic in front of him, and there has to be a lot of high-quality volume to get to him. Yes, you got 4 by him, but at the other end, Florida found a 5th.
Well, guys, keep in mind, we still haven't had the Babrovski egg, the goose egg,
Yeah.
or where you only get 1. There's been a lot of goals, especially early in these games, and Sergei Babrovski has settled in. Stuart Skinner has settled into these games, but we almost have it in the budget for one goaltender to have a stinker and one goalie to steal a game. We know who is who. At some point, Sergei Babrovski is going to factor in a game where it's you just can't beat the guy.
Yeah, I do think the Florida Panthers will play more to their identity, right? Stu Skinner had a lot more going on in front of him, in his crease, all of that. And Edmonton tried their best to get to Babrovski in a similar fashion. It's almost a level playing field when you look at the physicality of this series, not just the hits. I mean, that's charted, but the battles that are happening in front of both nets, which obviously intensifies the position, what they have to do.
It's going to get buried a little bit simply because the Oilers lost this game and we had all the wildness in overtime. But can we just sit back and relish this McDavid play to Draisaitl for a second, Frankie? Because I know we do these top 10 lists and McDavid could do about 30 top 10 lists with his plays, but that's almost got to be somewhere on there, considering the circumstances, the Stanley Cup final, and the quality of those moves.
The quality of the moves, the circumstances, but look at the players that he went around to make this goal happen. It really is so impressive what Connor McDavid is able to do, and we're talking about cornerstone pieces of the Florida Panthers in Sasha Barkov, who's the best defensive forward in the NHL, and then that's your number 1 defenseman in Aaron Ekblad. He gets around both those guys, the mobility, the agility, the hands, everything about it is unbelievable by Connor McDavid. So it's okay to sit there and admire the brilliance of it. And of course, in the context of the game, it makes it that much more significant. But I mean, that's just
ridiculous.
There's one of one that can do a play like that, and it's Connor McDavid.
It is. It's an all-world play. Draisaitl, yes, you have to convert it, but when it's on a tee like that, it's not hard to do that. That first period felt like there was 3 games, a game within a game, and a play like that, it's a cherry on top to how good these teams have played and how close they are right now in the finals.
Some hockey movies, Goon and such, where they have to do scenes where they make the guy look good, and so the defenders are, bad acting, look bad.
That's what
that's what that looked like, though. Except it was really quality players.
Yeah, those weren't two stiffs
No,
out there.
those are
Called
fantastic
up from
hockey
Kalamazoo.
players.
Those are 2 of the best players in the world.
Let's bring in Craig Button for this one. So you watched it live. We knew the Panthers. I think the most predictable story the last 3 years in the playoffs is that the Panthers were going to push back. 5-1 now, following a loss in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Who led the charge in your mind?
I think it was Brad Marchand. And it's not the goals he scored. Obviously, they were important goals, and you don't want to diminish that in any way, shape, or form. But Brad Marchand's in the fight. He's in the battle. And there was times in this game where he's winning pucks, and he's battling against the bigger players, and he's coming up with the puck. He makes opponents uncomfortable. James, I call it the it factor. He has it. You know, one of the new big phrases we're going to have, DNA factors. Well, you want DNA, you want somebody that's wired to win. And Brad Marchand doesn't know any other way to approach the game but to play with an intensity and a determination that very few players match. Very few players match. I'm not so sure anybody overrides his competitive intensity. But when you think about this game, and it looked like the Edmonton Oilers were carrying some play, they were pushing Evander Kane, Darnell Nurse, Trent Frederick, they were getting Florida a little bit uncomfortable. And then Brad Marchand came out, and he just literally dragged the team into the fight because he's in the fight. At every single turn, he's in the fight. And, you know, you think about this breakaway goal, shorthanded. This was a backbreaker because the Edmonton Oilers were on a power play, and then we know what the overtime winner is all about. But these are I guess what I would call this is the champagne. You give a toast to them. But the beer in Brad Marchand is the grit, is the hard driving player, and I think it permeated right through the team in this game, James.
Maybe some wine for Babrovski because, again, you heard both Seth Jones and Matthew Tkachuk talking about it. Matthew Tkachuk said it's maybe a 7-2 game after one period if it's not for the goaltender.
Yeah, Sergei Babrovski was excellent. And, you know, Jamie, you know, you talk about this regularly. His sense of calm, picking up the puck, understanding where the challenges are coming from. He has no chance on the Draisaitl goal. It's just a superb goal. But throughout the course of the game, I mean, the Oilers are trying to break the Florida Panthers. And time again, Sergei Babrovski is not breaking. He's got that ability to read the play, still got the great quickness, the great reads, and that becomes frustrating for players. And good players getting good chances, and they're not able to finish on Babrovski. You know, Skinner's played really well for the Edmonton Oilers, but Babrovski was simply outstanding in this game. So I will echo what Matthew Tkachuk said, that without Bobrovski's brilliance in this game, it might not even get to a game in the second period, let alone the second overtime.
Edmonton, appreciate your comments as always, Craig. Let's get some more sound now. Evan Rodriguez of the Panthers.
Obviously, you had battles in the playoffs before you got here.
Yeah, he's fit in seamlessly. He's, you know, come in and become a Panther in every sense of the word, and you know, came up big tonight, and yeah, happy for him, happy for us.
What is it about his personality that allows him to kind of thrive in these pressure moments from what you can gather?
I think he embraces it. He enjoys the moment. He doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't, you know, he's not worried about making a mistake per se. He goes out there, he competes, and you know, he lives and dies by his game, and he's done a great job for us, and we'll need him to continue to do that.
What was it like in the intermissions here during overtime? Tkachuk was saying guys were picking who they thought was going to score the winner.
Yeah, I thought we did a really good job of just staying up. Just you can't feel sorry for yourself, right? It's the worst thing you can do. We got right back in the room. No one was quiet. We all came together and just stayed loud, stayed up. It's an overtime game, right? They're a hell of a team. We're a good team, and it's going to be a hell of a series. So you can't feel sorry for yourself. I thought we did a great job of that. We got back out there and got to work.
Did anyone pick Brad?
I don't know. It's just, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
Feels like it happened a long time ago, but Bennett scores again. Like, what stands out about the playoff run he's playing together?
Yeah, just, you know, playing hard, playing in-your-face hockey, and just playing confident. It's, you know, he scored some big goals for us, but it's been a team effort. You know, every guy's contributing, and he's just, you know, he's doing a great job of sticking to his game, staying physical, you know, getting to the net. I think, you know, that's a big thing for him. He's hard to contain, and yeah, he's been great for us. Sergei faced 96 shots in the first two games. What have you seen from him tonight? What haven't you seen? No, he gives us a chance every night. That's all you can ask for, right? He's some big saves, key saves at key moments, and yeah, we're not taking him for granted. That's for sure.
He gives up a goal late. You guys give a goal, but it seemed like it didn't rattle your group today.
No, we stuck with it. We didn't get down. Like I just mentioned, you can't feel sorry for yourself. You stay up, you stay together, and you get back out there. I think that's the biggest thing, is just staying together. We did a great job of that.
Oilers defenseman John Klingberg.
So there are no easy losses in a Stanley Cup final, but is this one cut pretty close to home, just the way things unfolded?
Yeah, we were able to win game 1 in overtime, and they took the one today. So, I mean, it's hockey. 1-1.
Show how fine the line is in these games. Exhibit B.
Yeah, I think so. It's very close out there. It's not a lot of room and ice out there, but I mean, we're battled back, scoring that goal, got some momentum, had some good chances in overtime as well as them. So it's a balance here and there.
John, the second period seems to be giving you guys trouble. Can you put your finger on maybe why? Is it the long change, or is it something else that, you know?
I mean, you're never going to play a perfect 60 minutes. If it's in the first period, the third period, the second, I can't put a finger on it. But I think, yeah, like you said, if you control the puck most of the time in the second period, you're going to have fresh legs and have an easier way to change.
Yeah. So what's their forecheck like, and what do you have to do to counteract it?
Yeah, they're a big forecheck team. They're pinching hard as well, so I think we're doing a pretty good job though. We're coming back as 5. It's not just on the D to break out the puck. I think the forwards are doing a good job on the walls, and we're having a low center as well. So communication and coming back in the zone.
Chris Knobloch said he doesn't like you guys chipping the puck out because it just comes back in. So I guess, you know, in a situation where they're forechecking hard, how do you kind of combat that when you're puck possession?
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where they won the second period a bit. When you get tired, you chip it to a spot, and then they just keep flushing you. So I think it just comes to when you have a chance, you got to try to get that momentum first and get them on their heels a bit.
John, what do you make of all the traffic that they've had around Stu Skinner, and how do you kind of combat that without having them go on top of your goaltender?
Well, I mean, we know they have players that want to drive the net. So I think it comes to us trying to box out earlier. But I mean, we're trying to drive the net too. So I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, but I mean, they're a high shooting volume team, and if you are that, I guess they're bringing people to the net as well.
Does it matter how you lose in the playoffs? You just move on to the next game, or is this one?
Yeah, it's 1-1 now, so let's just move on.
John, how about Corey Perry's goal to send that one to overtime, and just the playoffs he's been having?
Yeah, I mean, I played with him before. He's a big clutch player. It's very impressive.
Playing playoff hockey, it's not easy on the body. In the 2 games in the final, you came close to playing 9 periods. What will be the challenge physically?
I mean, I guess they're traveling tomorrow. We're traveling. I mean, I guess it's just even there. Try to get the rest, eat, sleep, hydrate.
It flies under the radar a little bit with the heroics of Brad Marchand and Babrovski, but another night where Sam Bennett plays a pivotal role for the Florida Panthers in 2 separate ways, obviously. First, scoring. 12 goals now on the road, a Stanley Cup playoff record for Sam Bennett.
And that's the thing that would be the most frustrating about playing against Sam Bennett. It's not only is he in your goaltender's kitchen and he's hitting your goaltender, but then he's doing things like this and he's scoring goals and he continues to do it. James, like you just mentioned, now 12 road goals in these Stanley Cup playoffs, and is going to get the goal scoring started tonight for the Florida Panthers. And another thing where it's like, how many different layers of attack do the Florida Panthers have? If it's not Marchand, it's Bennett. They can be in your kitchen. They play physical, and Sam Bennett has really been such a great combination of the physicality and the skill of things.
I mean, his timing and his ability to create devastation, be it offensively or physically, is maybe second to none in the National Hockey League, especially this time of year. And just look at the swath that he's created to this point in the Stanley Cup final that dates back to round 1. I mean, maybe the series against the Maple Leafs is different if Sam Bennett doesn't make contact with Anthony Stolarz early in that series. And then in the Stanley Cup final, of course, you know, game one, you had the crease bump, and ultimately that led to a Sam Bennett goal, and it continues on and on. Game two, he kicks Ekholm's stick. Ekholm was sour about it. There's no call on that play because it's deceptively good, and you just had more, including this. I mean, this almost took Stu Skinner out of the hockey game. You know, Bennett falls back and lands on the knee of Stuart Skinner, and Skinner was down for a lengthy period of time and was fortunate enough to stay in the game. But name a player in today's NHL that does that on a consistent basis and is so good at it. He always seems, although he did get a goalie interference penalty tonight that led to a goal, but he always seems to find a way to straddle that line.
There's no player where you have to look at sometimes 3 replays and go, did he mean to do that? Did he get pushed or whatever? But every single time.
Perfect.
Let's hear from the Oilers coach, Chris Noble.
Chris, 1-1 after 2 games, 2 overtime games. It's kind of, I know it doesn't take anything out of, you know, what transpired the ultimate ending here, but it's kind of what it should be, really, based on how well and how good these 2 teams are that we're even heading back to Florida.
Yeah, each game could have went either way, and you know, obviously when you win the first one, you're disappointed you don't follow up and win the second one. But we're going there with a split, and that's fine with us. We know we're comfortable playing on the road. We've won a lot of games so far in the regular season and playoffs, so we'll get ready for game 3.
Stay on the left in the front.
Chris, 2 straight games, the second period's been a little bit rough. What have you seen in the second that you want to see improve specifically there?
Well, I know tonight it was puck execution. I know our passes weren't sharp. We gave away a lot of pucks, so if you can't make that first pass, you're stuck in the defensive zone. You might get it out to the neutral zone, but especially in the second period, if you just get it out to the neutral zone, you can't change, and then you get stuck. And that's, I think, what happened in the second period tonight. Just the execution wasn't what we needed. We got to execute a lot better. You know, in the first and the third, I thought that part of our game was pretty sharp, but we got to make sure we do it for the full 60.
Right side, front row.
Hey, Chris, sorry, kind of in that same vein, is how do you combat that? Because, you know, the guy said that they got tired, then they start chipping the puck and it gets recycled. Is that just a matter of you got to keep the puck?
That's second period. We're not tired in the second period. You're tired, I guess, if you get stuck out there and you can't make those changes. You know, it's different in the third period or overtime. You know, I thought our execution this overtime, we've got that same long change as we do in the second period as the first overtime period. And I don't think that was an issue. It was just in the second, it just wasn't what it should have been.
Stay on the right in the front.
Chris, on the winning, I wonder if there's anything you look on that. Tough hop and a good read there by Marchand.
Yeah, no, those counterattacks often happen. We're on attack. We get a great look. Aki comes in there, takes a slap shot. You know, hits the net. We're celebrating, and then fortunately it comes around, and you know, it's a difficult read, and everyone's going one direction. Now it's coming back the other way. It's just unfortunate that it worked out that way.
Left side, third row.
Chris, you've been asked about him all playoffs long, and for good reason, but Corey Perry just keeps coming up in big situations, and again tonight to force overtime with hardly any time left.
Yeah, no, he made a lot of good plays, and you know, he capped it off in the end of the third period, about 30 seconds left or whatever it was to score there. But in the third period, he had a lot of opportunities, partial breakaway, low in front of the net a couple times. Yeah, determination, finding a way to find the puck, and then obviously putting it in the net. He's got a skill for that, and that's definitely what we're thinking about when we added him last year in the playoffs, or for last year for the run in the playoffs. You know, he only had 1 goal last year, but we wanted, knowing that in the playoffs it's hard to score, and you need guys around the net and finding ways, and you know, he's as good as anybody finding ways to score.
Right side, third row.
Chris is over here. With how close this game was and how close you were to going up 2-0 in the series, how do you and your players not go to bed tonight having thoughts of, you know, what if?
Yeah, there's going to be some disappointment, but yeah, we've had the mentality, no matter what happens, bad game, close game, overtime, heartbreaking, easy, whatever it is, we put it behind us and we have to get ready for the next one, because in the playoffs, things don't always go your way, and sometimes it works out in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But I think we've been doing a pretty good job of responding and putting whatever happens, getting focused on the next game.
Any more questions for Chris?
It's early, guys. 2 games in, but doesn't it smell like 7 already?
It does.
When you watch these 2 teams, just unbelievable first 2 games. You can watch our entire post-game show on YouTube, but for now, it's time for SportsCenter.